Should we just jump into the headlines, Fancy Brian?
I think we should. Let's take care of it.
January 6th commission. And there is a vote of the full House body today, or at least an anticipated vote, right? Whether to hold Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress. And the Republicans have been whipping against this notion. No, don't handcuff ourselves just in case we ever win back the House. Or they would just change the rules when they, took back the power. Let's start with Nancy Pelosi. She is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And she, as part of her overall press conference, started by talking about the January 6th and the contempt vote against Steve Bannon. Fancy Brian, fanciest of all the Bryans I know, please play Nancy Pelosi, cut 40.
This goes beyond Bannon in terms of its importance. And you would think that if they take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, they would vote for the system of checks and balances.
Yeah, you'd think so. And it would appear as if Steve Bannon is perhaps the linchpin on January 6th. And I'm going to go to the reporting of thehill.com a little bit, just a little bit. Know how the people love when I read aloud. Bannon eyed as a key link between White House and the January 6th riot. That's why it's so important to get this guy on testimony, under oath, right, Fancy Brian?
You got to get him on record so that you can, have evidence and things to go and talk about rather than just saying, yeah, they're all bad.
The January 6th committee's vote to refer former Trump strategist Steve Bannon for criminal charges is putting a spotlight on the central role he may have played in organizing the day and the extent to which he coordinated with the White House and former President Trump. As lawmakers on the House committee voted unanimously Tuesday, that was 2 days ago, to forward Bannon to the Justice Department for failure to comply with their subpoena, a repeated refrain was the importance he could play in connecting the day's events and its participants. Here's a quick quote. Liz Cheney, been quoting her a lot lately. Based on the committee's investigation, it appears that Mr. Bannon had substantial advanced knowledge of the plans of January 6th and likely had an important role in formulating those plans. Mr. Bannon, another quote here, Mr. Bannon was in the war room at the Willard on January 6th. He also appears to have detailed knowledge regarding the president's efforts to sell millions of Americans the fraud that the election was stolen. Again, that's Liz Cheney. The full House will vote on the matter Thursday. That's today, kicking to the Justice Department the decision whether to file charges against Bannon, something that could mean a fine, jail time, or both for the one-time White House employee. Rep. Benny Thompson, I understand some of the sound is dropping in real time. Do we have the Benny Thompson? Let's play some of the sound if we got it, Fancy Brian. Rep. Benny Thompson, he chairs the January 6th committee, and I'm not sure what order these play, but let's do three of them.
We need to give the American people answers about what happened. There needs to be swift accountability.
Let's keep going.
The Select Committee told Mr. Bannon several times that he would face the consequences if he didn't change course. Well, he didn't change course, and his actions have brought us to this point.
Benny Thompson, again, he is the chair of the committee. Rep. Benny Thompson, the chair of the special panel on Tuesday, questioned why Bannon would be a martyr for Trump, who fired him after a few months at the White House, but ultimately pardoned the former aide on his last day in office, as Bannon faced charges related to fundraising for Trump's border wall. No, fraudulent fundraising. The rocky relationship between Bannon and Trump appears to have rebounded ahead of January 6th as Bannon met with rally organizers and promoted the event on his podcast. Again, with the Bannon podcast, it's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen. All I can say is strap in. You made this happen, and tomorrow it's game day. So strap in. Bannon told listeners his testimony. Adam Schiff, according to Adam Schiff, and then we'll go back to the Benny Thompson here. Adam Schiff says his testimony is important because he was predicting that all hell was going to break loose on January 6th, and he was reportedly in communication with the president in proximity to the 6th in multiple communications with the White House leading up to that day, according to Adam Schiff, who is the House Intelligence Committee chairman. Let's get back to the chairman of the January 6th Select Committee, Benny Thompson. More sound from him. Fancy Brian, if you would.
The Select Committee would prefer and frankly expect all witnesses to fully cooperate. But Steve Bannon has led us down this path.
One more, I believe. No, that's it. Okay. I know this is a formality and they got to go through the steps, but Fancy Brian, man, I want to hear someone bring down the hammer, or literally at least just hammer a gavel or make some noise, passion, engage in this activity like you mean it.
Get after it. Show us that you care. Show a little backbone, will you?
I know it's an unrealistic expectation that I have. I'm just frustrated, Fancy Brian, because today is not Merrick Garland Day. And I've declared many times on this big program, someday will be Merrick Garland Day. I pray. And that the, anointing of Merrick Garland Day will all be triggered by indictments against Trump or anyone in the Trump family. But so far, nothing. And Merrick Garland was on the Hill earlier today. He gave testimony as well. And it's the sort of testimony that leaves a bloodlusting progressive like me wanting, if you know what I'm saying, Fancy Brian. So let's turn to the Attorney General. Certainly not the man at the moment.
F that guy.
Not even close. I'm looking for F that guy. Here's the indictment. Boom. That's not what he said. Today, sound from today, testimony on the Hill. The Attorney General, like, just say it. You're the AG. They're not going to take the job away from you. Is he worried about the profanity? Maybe. Here's the effing indictment already. Boom. Okay, let's play the sound. Merrick Garland,
want a mic drop, just a mic drop. Here you go.
Then we might call it Merrick Garland Week, Merrick Garland Month, Merrick Garland Year. Hell, we'll name an award after him. But until then, it's certainly not Merrick Garland Day. But here's what the AG said today, cut number 30, Fancy.
As the committee is well aware, the department is engaged in one of the most sweeping investigations in its history in connection with the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Well, I certainly believe they're going after the low-level offenders, 600 plus, lots of charges, even some conspiracies among some of the perpetrators. But what about the organizers? What about the insider-in-chief? That's what I want to know. More from Garland. Communication with the White House, cut 31.
We strengthened our policy governing communications between the Justice Department and the White House. That policy is designed to protect the department's criminal and civil law enforcement decisions and its legal judgments from partisan or other inappropriate influence.
Great. When a Democrat's in office, now we got firewalls. Now we have firewalls. There were no firewalls between Trump and Bill Barr, Trump and Jeff Sessions. Why are there firewalls now?
Because Democrats have to play by the rules and Republicans don't care about them because when they're in the control, they make all the rules. I don't know. Just guessing.
Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, leaving me wanting today. Cut number 32, new office.
In the days ahead, we look forward to working with Congress to restore a standalone access to justice office within the department dedicated to addressing the most urgent legal needs of communities across America.
And yada, yada, yada. There are no indictments of Donald Trump today. And there is no, let's just play one more and then we'll go to break. Investigating Trump. What do you have to say about that, Merrick Garland? Cut 33.
We don't comment on whether we're investigating, what the status of investigations are unless and until there's a public charge. That's important to protect everyone, whether it be a former president, an existing president, or a public official or a private individual.
A, like Veruca Salt, I want to know now. And B, I just feel like, referencing perhaps James Comey. That wasn't the prior standard. Do you remember James Comey before the election out there piping up about Hillary? I thought he was dropping indictments. Oh, no. We're not dropping indictments. We're just making lots of very shady comments about an investigation that's, found nothing. Essentially nothing.
It didn't have election consequences at all, did it?
Merrick Garland's leaving me wanting. We'll come back on the other side. He better, have caught some passion, got on a roll like the devil's advocates often do when you start calling 844-967-2789.